Alright, let's get this. The Canadian federal election for 2004 is approaching its end. For enthusiasts, it's been a long road. But for most, it's just been painful. But there's a bright side to everything. So I decided I'd take my camera on down to the newspaper we Nova Scotians love most and give everybody a first-hand look at editorial cartoonist Bruce Mackinnon as he runs through a typical day of slapping politicians in the pucker. Feel free to enjoy politics for the next few minutes.
Well, it's the art of caricature, and it's an old art that you know, came to being out of this sort of this need for well, satire, visual satire within the newspaper. So they got someone who could draw, and they got him to make cartoons. I guess it's as old as cartooning itself. To make cartoons out of political figures and so on, and attack them in that way, or make fun of them, bring them down to sort of human level. It usually starts with the newspaper. I've got it here, and I'm reading, starting from the front page, because the front page is where you want most of your material to come from. You want to do the stories that are most talked about on any given day, because a cartoon can't really explain the background behind the story. You have to know what the story is already. So it has to be the story that most people are talking about on the street, and often those are the stories that end up on the front page. There's no sort of formula as to how to caricaturize somebody. Sort of the general idea is to take what they have most of and give them more of it, you know. So if so-and-so has a big nose, you give them a bigger nose, you know. If I have a serious photograph with a lot of sort of detail in it, then I might go for a caricature that has a lot of depth and that kind of thing in it. If I have somebody that just has a funny face, and I just in my head I have a sense that this face can be stretched and elasticized, then I'll do that. Well, you know, it was more a case of pursuing the Herald. I mean, I was in university. I had studied fine arts at Mount Allison. I was in the process of studying graphic design at the College of Art and Design, and I fired off a couple of cartoons and brought them into them and said, you know, they didn't have a cartoonist at the time, because Bob Chambers, their former cartoonist of 40 years, had retired 5 or 6 years previous. And I went in and I gave them some cartoons, and they hired me to do some stuff on more or less a freelance basis. You know, I'm not sure I have a love for politics. It's a healthy cynicism is what it is, and I think that's basically, I think everybody wants to have their say about politics, but you know, when I realized that the things that I do in my editorial cartoons can have the potential to affect change in politics, I thought, you know, this is pretty good. You know, I can do this. And it's a great way. It gives you a lot of satisfaction. It's a great way to get back at those that you feel may have wronged you or your fellow Nova Scotians, Canadians. It's a great way to have your point made, to have your voice heard. Normally, what happens is it's their people that contact you, because they tend to try to stay above the fray, and they don't want to be dragged into something personally. But there are politicians that have definitely contacted me and written nasty letters to the editor and all that kind of stuff, and that's great. That's very satisfying for me. I'm not shooting too high, as long as I remember just somebody who didn't screw up too much. You know, I'm just happy doing what I'm doing. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world when I come in here to work. I draw cartoons for a living, and you know, it doesn't get much better than that. It doesn't get much better than that.